One of the big things we stressed this semester was building community and really just building legacy so that there's foundations here and everyone knows what BSO is all about so that this can be a strong, thriving organization after all of us in this room have long graduated and come here for the 30th or 40th reunion, I don't know. But just building community, coming together, creating safe space, having conversations, fun conversations, but also real conversations about everyday life and everything that's happening in the world currently.
All right, great. Thank you. So I'll just give you a little rundown of how tonight's going to work. So first I'll have all three of our alums introduce themselves, just talk a little bit about what led you to Valpo and what you did while you were there, what was your major, then talk just briefly about your experience after graduation and how that led you to where you are now. So after we do intros, then we have a list of questions here. I'll go through as many as we can. And after each question, I will open the floor to the group. So if BSO has any follow-up questions or wants some clarification, we can have time for that. And then I'll leave 10 or 15 minutes at the end of our time together so that if our alumni have any questions for the group or for me about what's going on at Valpo right now, we can cover those as well. So we'll do some mutual sharing here. So let's start with the introductions. Kenya, would you like to go first?
Sure, I'm probably the most senior of the group. So hi, everybody. My name's Kenya Jenkins-Wright. I am a 2000 graduate from Valparaiso University. I majored in communication. The activities I participated at Valpo was primarily newspaper. I've always wanted to be a reporter. That didn't turn out that didn't work out, but we'll talk about that later. And another activity I participated in was 2 years of track and field. Of course, going to BSO events and whatnot. And what was my experience after graduation when I determined that being a reporter wasn't going to work out the way I wanted it to with the pay. I wasn't getting into the New York Times. It just wasn't flowing there. I decided to go to law school. So I came back to Illinois. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I came back to Illinois and went to Northern Illinois University College of Law, graduated in 2003. So I went straight through high school graduation, then college, then law school. And right now I am the general counsel of the State of Illinois Guardianship and Advocacy Commission.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kenya. Samira, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself next?
Sure. Just as a forewarning, I have a toddler here, so you may hear him in the background. So hi, my name is Samyra Leonard. I am a 2019 graduate. I studied social work and sociology. I was involved with a number of things, but primarily the SAFE organization, the Student Social Work Organization, Criminology Club, Smart Mentors, and then I did stay with BSO for a little while. And I am currently a program manager at the Carle Illinois College of Medicine, which is a part of the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. I don't know, what else am I supposed to, other questions?
No, that's good. That's comprehensive.
Okay.
And we'll delve into the rest later. Thank you, Samira. And Cody, go ahead.
Awesome, thank you. What's going on, BSO? Long time no see. Where do I start, right? My name is Cody Cotton, born and raised Maywood, Illinois, western suburb of Chicago. I currently reside in Hyde Park right now. What led me to Valpo? Football led me there. My choice was to go wherever was giving me the most money. I technically didn't earn my full ride until after signing day, so I couldn't decommit. So it was a blessing. So I had to stay there at Valpo, and it was some of the best years of my life. My major was criminology, sociology, minor in communications. Laux was my advisor. I'm still in contact with Laux to this day, Levine Laux. The activities I participated in was football, BSO, male empowerment, and just supporting as many other organizations on campus as well as live. My experience after graduation, I took a very, very contrarian approach to finding a job after college. I didn't bother making a resume. I was really, really heavy built into entrepreneurship throughout college, and I took a leap of faith. So 2016, we started a nonprofit, a Greater Good Foundation, a youth mentoring nonprofit, and we're working throughout Chicago, Northwest Indiana, and we're working on expanding to a couple other states. And I'm currently in grad school, getting my master's in consciousness and human potential. A really dope subject. I look forward to sharing more when I finish up in a year. And then the current position, what do I do in this position? I'm pretty sure I said it, and we'll probably dive into a little bit more of it in a bit. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you, Cody. So now we'll jump into our list of questions here. If you're looking at the agenda, we might skip around a little bit depending on time, just to make sure that we hit all of our different points. And for Kenya, Samira, and Cody, if there's a certain question you don't want to answer or feel like you don't have, applicable information, just let us know you pass. So no obligation to talk on all of them. But we'll start here. How did your Valpo education or your Valpo experience prepare you for your career journey? So whichever one of you wants to start, you can go ahead and jump in.
I guess I'll just go ahead and start since I jotted down a few notes. I believe I was also in the Honors College, Christ College, which really had a focus on humanities and whatnot. So being at Valparaiso really challenged me to learn how to think critically, how to perform analysis of situations, and get understanding, of what steps need to be taken to have success. It also taught me to do community outreach. That's the one thing that I have really been big on after graduating, that though I probably did not participate in as much community outreach while at Valparaiso, it still set the foundation for me to understand the importance of it and to do more outreach and involvement in the community. And I thought Valparaiso was an amazing experience, both academically and socially.
Great, thank you. Samira or Cody, you want to jump in?
Okay, that was the toddler. So I was drawn to Valpo because of the accredited social work program. That was the reason I came. Like, I did the overnight visits, I did the visitation days, and I was immediately drawn to the sense of community that was there. And so I would say, along with my experience within the organizations, my social work cohort, and then being a resident advisor, I was able to really find my passion for service. That's one of the key things that Valpo teaches you in terms of giving to others, what you want given to yourself. And then also learning about my skills around program coordination and program management, along with social justice engagement and those type of things. And so I was able to find that with both the academic side, but then also the social thank you. Also the social aspect of Valpo. So I would say those are the key things that prepared me for the job I'm in now.
Awesome, thank you. And Cody?
Yeah, you all said so much, so I'll keep it short, but very, very similar. I mean, I'm basically from Chicago, so the demographic of people you grow up in, I grew up with a lot of people that look like me. So being able to be exposed to a different demographic of people, a diverse group of people, and not just talking about color, but perspectives, opinions, beliefs, ideologies, just the goals in general and expectations So being able to see that and then go heavy into the nonprofit space where you have to talk to people, where you have to communicate, where you have to speak for your cause and say why people should believe in your cause and why people should support. It prepared me very, very well, especially with my major being criminology, sociology. It's the study of society and people. So direct correlation there from major to direct service and work that we do.
All right, thank you. So BSO, do you have any follow-up questions after that, or would you like to move on to the next one? No? All right. We'll move on to our next question. If you guys have any questions at any point, just wave or speak up. But our next question here is, what is one piece of advice that you would give to someone at the start of their job or career search? So if any of you BSO members are seniors, what would you say to them as they jump out into the world and start looking for jobs or looking for their next step?
Well, I really liked something that Cody pointed out. He said he's still in communication or in connection with his advisor. And that's huge. Like what I pointed out was you need to make connections. It's not just having a resume and sending it out to 100 people cold. You have to have connections. When you have connections, either from being involved in different organizations at Valpo or being involved in your major or with your advisor or the dean or whatnot. And that all you have to do good work. You have to do good work that people don't mind putting their name on you. Because if someone has a connection and they can make a phone call to get you a job, that's how I got a couple of my internships while at Valpo. And I also got several letters of recommendations from professors and the dean of the College of Communication that helped me get a scholarship. And I'm not wealthy. It helped me get a scholarship to go to law school. So being involved in organizations, showing the great work you do, and interacting with people and developing relationships with people, because anybody, can give you an A, but if you go see that professor later, speak to them, speak to the dean, let them know that you're looking, what you're looking for, that, communication could be speech writing, TV, radio, newspaper, their PR, I think public relations was in the communications department. So just because your major is communication doesn't mean that they know what you want to do. So do good work, be active, connect with those around you and let people know what you're looking for. And then if an opportunity jumps up and they know your reputation, they'll make a call for you. And then you turn in your resume. And then, but your resume is at the top of the pile.
Amen. And that you hit it straight on the head. Again, I want to think so much outside the box with this, right? It really depends on you and the situation you're in. I was blessed to be able to come back home and live with my parents right after college and focus all on the business, right? Many people won't choose that route, but me and my parents' lifestyle align with each other. So that was very easy. Second, find your dream job and take a chance. Work for them for free and find out ways you can add value. For real, for real. Find something you want to do. Find a dream job. Not something that you think maybe, not something you're like, okay, this seems like it could be a good fit. Be like, what would be your dream job? Take a chance, reach out, find out how you can add value to them. If you add enough value, they will find a way to bring you on board. So I know that from a few people that I know from experience. I wish I could say I've done it, but I haven't. But a few people I know I could trust and say that's the way to go.
One of the things I echo what both of them said, like hit the nail on the head. Another thing that was really helpful for me, especially given the support that I had in the social work department, was being confident in your abilities, because you are there for a reason. I think sometimes when you're starting a new position or you're coming to a new company and you don't know what the atmosphere is like, you know, you are new, there are other people over you and so forth, which is scary. But also knowing that you can provide value to that organization, as Cody said. You have your expertise, you know what you've been trained in, and you have your own voice, which needs to be heard. And so I would definitely suggest that you do that.
Great. That was just such wonderful advice. Do we have any follow-up questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Those are wonderful answers, first of all. My name is Nick Davis. I'm the treasurer of BSO. And I wanted to ask about the power of taking chances. Can y'all speak about that briefly?
Yo, can I speak to that first? Man, when you take a chance and you take a leap of faith, whether you say God, universe, or whatever you consider it to be, all the laws of nature will support you when you take a chance. Everything will support you when you take a chance. Not only that, when someone is young at 20, 21, 22, and you see someone take a chance and they know what they want, let's first create the distinction that not a lot of people know what they want at your age. So for you to say, this is what you want, this is what you want to do, you're bold, you're courageous, and you know it exactly, I'll sit back in my seat and just listen to whatever you have to say. So whatever it is, whatever that chance looked like for you, just know that there's so much support behind you that you can't even see when you make a decision like that. Everything will move out its way to make sure that you get what you want once you fully commit to that, though. From experience.
And I just want to follow up on what Cody said with emphasizing something that Samira said. You have to have confidence. Valparaiso is not just some, joke of a school. It's a very competitive school. The fact that you're in the school and you're thriving and you're doing additional activities, building relationships, even building the relationships that you're making with each other. That's excellent. That will help you. You don't know where anyone's going to be in the future, so, that's very important. Be confident that you can do it, because I was the first person in my family to graduate from college. And then I was definitely the first one who ever decided to go after college to try to get a doctorate degree. And I was just as prepared as the people whose great grandfather, grandfather, and father were lawyers.
Come on now.
You have the background, you have the understanding, you have the knowledge, and go in confidently with whatever you choose to do, knowing that you have that to help you.
Facts.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. And I would also say, knowing that when you take a chance, I'm putting all the energy in the world for you to succeed, but know that there are still learning opportunities when those chances do not go through. You may take a chance on a job and you say, hey, this is what I want to do. This is what I know. This is where my skills lie. And it may not be the place for you. And in that experience, you will learn, hey, this is, I'm better at doing this, or, hey, I know this person is doing another job that I thought about, and you never know where that opportunity is going to lead you. So don't be afraid to take a chance, because whatever it is, it still is a learning experience.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any other questions from the group before we move on? All right. So I'm going to skip here just a little bit so we can cover a few other things. What was something that surprised you all after college? What was something about life after graduation or life after higher education, if you went on, and got, that other degree? What surprised you about coming out into the real world, as people say?
I'll just start. you know, I thought I was pretty independent at college. I didn't need my parents. I decided when I go to bed and I'm paying my cell phone bill. There were cell phones even back then in the 90s. and whatnot. And I did not realize that being in the dorm and having your own apartment and trying to make your own food and all that is totally different. You know, I believe college is a great transition because it's sort of like in between. You still have some structure. You're going to have a roof over your head. You're going to have food, but you still have some of that independence. But when I got out, I gained a ton of weight because I had no clue how to cook and I was going to McDonald's every day. It was disastrous. And so I had to sort of gain those skills through that. That was the one thing that was surprising. I thought I knew it all and had everything handled, and I didn't have anything handled.
I think, yeah, don't got much to say about it. I'm not sure if it was too many things that really surprised me after college. One thing I look back at and just be like, man, I wish I was more conscious of at the time, which is this is going to be your last time being able to wake up and like go next door and see like people that, you know, like that's around your age that are focused on what you're focused on, that are passionate about what you're passionate on. And it might not be the exact same topic, but you know, you get off into the real world, you're kind of like, you're secluded to whatever environment you put yourself in. You gotta think about so many people your age there with potential, with ideas, with maybe the next biggest idea. And I was just like, man, I wish I would have been more cognizant to realize all of the resources that I had there while I was a student. Because now, you know, those resources cost, you know, like, so all those things are very, very costly now. But I would just say like, that was the one thing that surprised me. I just looked back at it and was like, man, I wish I could have did this, this, and this while I had everyone there, while I had the group of people there. I wish I could have did that.
And I would just say, I want to echo one of the points that was brought up earlier. It's scary how much it's dependent upon who you know and what relationships you build. Even, you know, there are people that you may not like that you end up working with or working for, and those relationships matter. The relationships that you do have and you don't have. And I would, you know, like the job that I have now, I got it because I had a relationship with my supervisor, who had a relationship with somebody else in a different position. And so really paying attention to who you're keeping around you in your circle, but then also making sure that you are conscientious of, you know, bridges that may be burnt. I know, especially at that age, and even at my age now, I have to think about, you know, is this a professional relationship? Is this somebody that I want in my network? Is this somebody that could impact me in the future? And so you should definitely keep that in mind as you're moving forward.
Yes, definitely. As a recent college graduate myself, I feel all of those a lot. Thank you. Does the group have any follow-up on any of that? Yeah, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Takidra. I'm currently the Vice President of BSO. And I know that Mr. Cody had mentioned that he wished he would have took advantage of some of like the resources that were in college. So I'm just intrigued as to what are some of the specific resources that you wish you would have taken advantage of?
Oh, man, well, if we're talking about grades, I wish I would have took better resources of the writing center. So let's start that off first. Second, I just think about the resources to gather groups of people, right? That is like, don't take for granted that all of you are there right now, right? Like, I think about some of the biggest years I was there. Like right now, as an organization, we do a lot of support around voting. It is very tough now to get young people together to vote. However, we were there through the Obama. So I graduated 2016. right? My last year, Trump became president, right? I was just thinking like, yo, it was something more I could have did here on campus to gather people, and because we were all there, it wasn't no trying to find people. Nowadays, like it's pretty tough when you leave the college environment. So I hate that I can't think of any more resources right away for you all, but that's just more so the idea that came to mind.
All right, anything else anyone would like to add before we move on to the next question?
Oh, and a student radio. Yeah.
All right, next question. I think this is a really interesting one because all of you come from very different fields. So what are some challenges that you face in your current position, and how do you manage these challenges?
I'll start. So there's a couple of hats you wear as an entrepreneur. So I don't want to focus more so on the business, but I'd rather focus on the mentoring part. Challenges we face is different on a day by day, just because of the students we work with, whether we're working with college students, young adults, high school or middle school. And I even think about today, had a new student come. So I work at an alternative school. That's one of our partnerships. Alternative school is technically defined by students that go there who are displaced from their main school from truancy, credit deficiency, or behavior issues. So every student we get that comes in, they could come in anytime during a year. You never know what the situation may be. You just have to make sure you create a safe space, find ways to add value, support them, and try to love them back to a place that's better than you found them. So for me, that is probably by far the biggest challenge, just because there's only so much that you could give, right? Sometimes it can become mentally draining. Sometimes it can be emotionally draining. Some of the stories that you hear, just trying to figure out like, how can that happen? So you try not to spend more of your time on how, but trying to focus on more so the solution. So I would say more so for me, probably the biggest challenge is working with the youth and trying to have them open up their perspective. So we say it all the time, child can't be what a child can't see. We've been able to do so many unique experiences, college tours, taking our kids flying, Niagara Fall, Fogo de Chao, anything you can imagine. But throughout COVID, we had to get really creative when we couldn't physically take them somewhere. So those are just some of the challenges. You just have to find ways like, yo, what's the solution? And spend more time focusing on a solution than you do on the problem.
From in my position as a general counsel, so I'm like the attorney for the agency, and we're a smaller agency, just like 140 employees. So I don't have a big department. So everything goes to me. Contracts go to me. Someone's getting sued, goes to me. Guardianship issues go to me. And just not knowing what's going to be thrown my way. And as Cody pointed out, still trying to, it's my responsibility to figure it out. This is the situation. And, you're dealing with other people. So you may have someone who thought they could handle a situation and they made it worse. And then after they made it worse, they ran to me and dumped it on my desk, so to speak, for me to figure it out. So that is like the most difficult part of my job, the fact that I don't know what's coming up. And I'm sure, that's probably the same thing with Cody and Samira, especially given the social parts of their job.
Yeah.
All right, Samira, you want to add anything to that one?
She might be frozen.
Oh no.
Then I think she's frozen.
I think she's frozen too.
Okay, well,
I'll send her a message. But in the meantime, does anyone have any follow-up questions on that?
I have a comment, not a question though. is for Cody, because coming from a student who graduated from our tender school, it's really nice to know that you actually care for your students and you want to create a safe space for them. So I really love that.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, we love our students, man. And to be honest, that's our favorite students to work with. Like hands down, just because again, going to Valpo, sometimes being the best scholar could really keep you in a box when it come down to seeing things, right? I think it was a blessing that I wasn't the best student, because it made me depend on other faculties that will allow me to, like, hey, I got to rely on my imagination. I got to rely on people's skills. I got to rely on my ability to communicate. But you will find everyone like that at the alternative school. So I love it. It's our favorite group of students to work with, hands down.
All right, I'm going to keep an eye on the waiting room. I've got Samira will be joining back in a minute here. Any other questions before we hop to the next question? All right, well, the next question is a really practical question, and we've touched on this a bit already. But what are some job search slash networking strategies?
Maya, I think someone had another comment or question.
Was there another question?
Yes, I have one for Keith.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So what led you to Northern Illinois Law School?
Well, I knew I wanted to go be back in Illinois. So I applied at several schools. I applied at University of Illinois, Northern Illinois, DePaul, Loyola. I think those were the 4 that I applied to. And basically just quite frankly, I got into them all, which is in, U of I is a top 25 school. I got into them all, but the one that gave me the most money was Northern Illinois University. And I had to, do that. I'll be honest, I wanted to be back in the city. Of course, the city's more fun, you're young and whatnot. But the thought of taking out $30,000 a year for 3 years of fun in the city, when I knew I was going to eventually come back to the city anyway, didn't make sense to me. So yeah, you really have to do a overall analysis. And I know some people who had those 3 years of fun in the city, and they are still paying their student loans right now. Student loans that could be a mortgage, not just student loans. I mean, mortgage size student loans. So you really have to think of everything. What's your current debt? What are the school's ratings? Where do you want to practice? What are you looking for? And then you have to compare all that with the money and see if you can, jiggle things around. Northern gave me the most money, but it didn't give me direct access to the city. So after I graduated, I had to work in Rockford, Illinois, which is, Northern Illinois, for about 2 years. And then I was finally able to find a job in Chicago. So you have to do balancing. You got to balance everything off and really chart things down and see where you land. But for me, with my, situation trying to start off on my own, I chose to go the conservative route fiscally and go with the most money, and then take my time reaching my ultimate goals of getting to a law firm in the city.
Thank you, and welcome back, Samira. Is there anything you wanted to add about your challenges you face in your current position?
Yeah, so I would say collaboration and building relationships. So one of the things that we're doing is training 50 high school and young adults to be community health workers in the city of Chicago on the south and west sides. And so building those relationships with organizations that we don't already have established connections with is very difficult. But then also collaborating on a team in and of itself is challenging, because we have so many partners and there are so many wonderful ideas that you have to balance, but then you also have to make sure that you're staying on task. The other thing I would say is coaching. So sometimes you often are put in, or you're giving tasks or projects that you don't have, or that you aren't prepared for. that you may not feel that you are equipped to do, but your boss is saying, hey, you need to do it, and you have to figure out a way to get it done. So that's where that confidence comes into play, and knowing your skills, because you sometimes do just have to figure it out. Even though you may have a supportive work environment, sometimes there isn't enough time and space between the day-to-day to give you that additional coaching that you need. And then the last thing I would say is staying motivated. So when you're feeling overwhelmed with work, things that are happening in your own life, it's very difficult to keep your eye on what you're actually trying to achieve. And so I would say, one of the things that I definitely am grateful for is my support network, and being able to still have fun outside of work, because those challenges can be draining, and you may not know what tomorrow looks like, but you can say, hey, I have this person in my corner, so it's not as difficult.
Right, any follow-up questions before we move on? All right, we'll do 1 to 2 more questions, and then I'll just open the floor for any general questions you all may have. And then we'll ask our alumni if they have any questions as well. So back to this question, it's a practical question. What are some job search and networking strategies that you all can suggest for our students?
Talk to everyone and build your LinkedIn.
You know, be part of, I already said this, but I'll repeat it because that's how I, actually made it. All the jobs I've had was through this, being active in organizations, doing good work, letting people know who you are and what you can do, and keeping those connections and letting people know if you need a hand or if you're interested in something. I've sent out thousands of resumes, called, and never got a single job from it. Every single job I've had, since graduating from college has been with some sort of relationship or connection. Who even knew about the job? Why would I know that Illinois Guardianship and Advocacy Commission is looking for a new general counsel? That's not in the newspaper or anything. Someone told me about it and said they thought I'd be a good fit, and knew my child is no longer a toddler. He's now 8 years old, but at the time he was a toddler, and they knew that I was trying to get out the rough and tumble world of billable hours, which can have you at a firm till midnight sometimes, and that was no longer feasible for me. So they thought that this would be a good fit to still give me challenging work, but a different vibe or environment. So every job I've had was through making connections, keeping those connections, being active, volunteering to do work and assignments, and then doing good work and assignments.
Samyra, you mind if I cut in real quick? Just to add on to what Kenya said, being a good person goes a long way, because everything you just said is like, you're a good person. Like, just in short, just keeping it simple, being a good person goes a long way. Your name is one of your most important things you have. Like, for real. It was hard for me to answer this because I haven't had to make a resume. I just honestly haven't. The field of work I'm in, they'll search you up faster than anything, and then your work is your biggest resume. Like, when people at the schools, they see the work we do, they talk to the students, or they talk to the parents, or just other community organizations, they will refer you. Again, if you're adding value and just being a good person, that will handle itself. Good work is heavily needed in this world.
And I had a screaming toddler in the background. Could you repeat the question for me? I'm sorry.
Yeah, do you have any job search or networking advice as our students go out and try and, can start their careers?
Oh, No, I would have to echo what Kenny and Cody said. Those are the keys. Like when you're first starting out, you know, that relationship building, making sure that you are, you know, a good person and that your work shows it. You have to, that's all you have to you, because you can't expect someone to take a chance on you. You can't always expect someone to take a chance on you. I should say that. So making sure that you are doing what you say doing what you say that you want to do, and showing people that you can show up and show out.
Mhm.
That's the freest thing you can do.
Go crazy then. Show out and show, you know what I'm saying?
All right, any follow-up questions or comments on all of that advice? Yeah.
My name is Frank, and my question was, how did your extracurricular activities outside of the classroom help you with life after school?
Time management.
And
Yes.
for
Oh, go
me,
ahead.
writing, even though I didn't say, oh, I don't want to be a newspaper reporter anymore, so now I'm about to go become an electrical engineer. I didn't flip it that far. I just transitioned, and writing is still important. So being part of the newspaper, doing, for lack of a better term, investigations and research for articles and whatnot, impact. Cody mentioned it earlier, the writing center. Writing is everything. You can get, I'm talking to my 8-year-old about it now. Listen, you can't even do a math problem nowadays without reading and writing. You have to read the problem, because they always put it in the paragraph format now, and you have to be able to write out your analysis. So if you can't do reading or writing, then you're going to have very difficult time. So I like activities that help you. It's sort of like, that's what they call them, extracurricular activities. So you have your curriculum and you're doing something extra that will push you above some of your classmates.
Yeah.
I would definitely say time management and keeping myself organized. I do not recommend this, but senior year, I was the president of 3 organizations, and that drained me. But it also, in hindsight, it taught me how to manage my time and manage time for myself. Wherever you are in your work life or college, wherever, you need to make time for yourself, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to show up and show out. It's just not going to work. And so I would definitely say that being able to manage your time and stay on task are really key.
Great. So we have about 15 minutes left. So I just want to open the floor to BSO. What other questions do you guys have about school, about jobs, about life? Anything you guys can think of now?
Can we get y'all contact info?
Of course. I feel like most of the room already got my contact info though, high key.
You can either email me at Kenya J, KENYAJ @gmail.com. And I am on LinkedIn as Kenya. Oh yeah, the chat. Thank you. See, Cody's more advanced at this.
And what I'll do too after the meeting,
I'll just put that.
I'll send out a follow-up email to the BSO account and to all of you, and I'll include that contact information so we can start building those connections as well.
And also, just so you all know, on LinkedIn, I'm under Kenya Jenkins-Wright. And I have the fact that I'm an alum of Valpo on there. So unless there's been an influx of Kenyas since 2001, when you put in Kenya, if you have Valpo on there, I should be one of the first ones that pop up.
Thank you.
Yeah, and another thing that just hit me too, I just thought about it. If you all have a dream job again, go to their page, go to their community part of the tab and figure out what nonprofit they have, what nonprofits they're working for. It wouldn't be bad to go serve at one of their service events.
Exactly.
And that's, at Valpo, that's what we do second nature. Service is just who we are.
Well, I do have a question for BSO, if you don't mind, since I'm sort of like 22 years out. BSO was more of a, get together organization. At that time, maybe once or twice a year have an event. I'm very curious. Tell me about BSO now. What type of activities have you all been doing? I went to the website. It seems like things are going really well and whatnot, but I just wanted to hear from you all. And what do you have coming up?
Yeah, I'll take that. 'Cause I've been here a few years now, and I've been on BSO e-board for 2 years. And so a lot of things we're doing now stretches beyond just social. It's a lot of educational components now. So it's a lot of activism components in there. There's a lot of philanthropy components now. It's just it spreads so widely that it's enriching. What I'm saying? We're trying to enrich people now. So one thing we did was We Matter Week, right? And that's basically a week of programming to lift Black voices, right? That was something new we did. And we actually get other organizations to put on events so that they're educating themselves and others at the same time. We do Black History Month, and that's a lot of nice events, a lot of get-together, soul food kickoff, sneaker ball that Takeda put on. Then we have the Bhm Dinner, right? Bhm Dinner was transformational because it had a philanthropy component to it. It was a giving circle, basically. It was a giving circle, and so basically, there were organizations that were presented, right? And then we had to talk amongst each other and figure out who we wanted to give some money to, the money that was raised at that event, right? So those are a couple of things. Somebody jump in on again, I don't know, but we're just doing a lot of different things now, and the goal is to really build communities.
Do you all have like a newsletter or a listserv or anything? So if there's an activity that, because I literally haven't, until I connected with Maya, I think, what was that, about 8 months ago, maybe we connected like in June or July. I have literally, after I graduated, never had any connection to Valpo again. And, then I connected with Maya. Now I'm doing a couple of things at Valpo. How can I be more active or more available to you all?
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's something that we're actually looking to change as we speak. So for now, we're going to come up with a newsletter to send out to people, right? But that's in the vault right now. We're still developing that. So hopefully we can get that up next school year. But until then, you can follow BSO_Valpo on Instagram, and we post everything on there pretty much. So that's how you see updates, that's how you see pictures, videos, things like that, and you'll stay in the know with that. But thank you. I'm glad you want to be involved. We're actually working with Alumni Engagement to make that happen. So this is just one step in that direction.
Oh, that's excellent. This is very exciting to participate in this. And you said that's BSO_Valpo. Okay.
Yeah, and I'll just throw
it now.
I'll throw in really quickly too, for all of you at BSO, if there's anything you want to send out to alumni too, you can always send it to us in Alumni Engagement and we can get it sent out. We can take all of the work out of that. If you just send us the text or the image, we can send it out too, and we can grow that group of alums who want to support you. On that same theme, today is Valpo Day of Giving. And so we're working to crowdfund for the BSO Scholarship Fund. Does anyone want to speak on that a little bit about what that is? Otherwise, I can. It's up to you guys.
We want to hear from you.
Yeah, so we're just, I'm looking at the crowdfunding page right now, and it looks like it's been getting donations all day, which is good. But it looks like it's for the book scholarship to pay for books for Black students. So it looks like it's been doing well today too. And if for our alums, if you know anyone who might be interested in supporting scholarships for Black students, that page, it's crowdfunding.valpo.edu, and I will send that in the chat. Oops. Crowdfunding.valpo.edu. And then the BSO scholarship is the first one on the page. All right. So any other questions, comments, things to share, things we want to talk about before we head out?
And I just want to point out a couple of students already connected with me on LinkedIn. So see, that's how there hasn't been any other Kenyas at Valpo since I graduated. So it's very easy to find me. Please connect with me. I love to see some of the work that you all are doing. And I'm already following you all now on Instagram.
And Maya, would you be willing to provide the list of former BSO members to either me or Mary? I'm Winton Jones, by the way. I'm one of the faculty members for BSO.
Yeah, definitely. So unfortunately, that's what we've been trying to gather because, you know, sometimes, you know, previous BSO, you know, e-board members, you know, sometimes the list gets lost or sometimes it isn't sent to us too. But we do have a limited database too. And I can send you an email too, and I can let you know how we can work that out. But what really helps us too is if you let us know who's in your group now, so we can start growing that list for the future too. Like I know you mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, you want BSO to be strong and present for years and years down the road. And that's how we can do it if we start growing that alumni database now. But otherwise too, what else we can do is we can send something to all Black alums too. You know, because there's some who might not have gotten to participate in BSO who still will be really supportive of what you're doing. All right. Anything else?
Quick question. And a quick shout out. What's good, when I didn't even see you in the room, man? Appreciate all the work you've been doing, handling your biz. My thoughts about it, because even while we were there, and me and Wyndham played football together, and we was in BSO together. The reason why I don't know, I just feel like the reason why I feel like BSO is never able to pick up enough momentum, because the number one focus for you all is school. If you have extracurricular, that kind of takes the place, and the BSO kind of comes last, right? And even if it becomes first right after school, everything you're doing for that year, everything changes. So it's hard to pick up momentum. So it's not really running like a business, but more so like a club. And the type of support you all are trying to get, you're looking for support like basically like a nonprofit, like an organization, like a biz. I know earlier, a couple of months ago, we talked about this, right? What ways can you all start automating and automating and systemizing things to be able to have things more so like a company. So Nick is not looking to send out a newsletter, but the next 5 newsletters are already made for the next 5 months, right? So my thought of it, and now that I'm thinking about it, and even you just brought up the point, Kenya, you were part of BSO 22 years ago. Like, we didn't know that, nor were you even aware of anything going on. So I look at it as more than just an Instagram page, but this has to be something that you guys kind of own. And it's kind of hard to do so with it being set up the way it's set up. So I don't know, I just went on a rant, but I just had a lot of thoughts in terms of like, it has to get systemized. It has to be something that you guys kind of own. I'm not talking about within the corporation, but it just has to be something more. That's how we throw them dollars.
I have a question for Cody. You said you played football here, and like a lot of our Black students here are athletes. How did you like manage being part of BSO and being an athlete at the same time? And how do you like recommend like reach out to our student athletes?
Oh, if you grab one student athlete of color who's influential, he'll bring another one. and they'll just start coming in one by one, two by two. And then again, just find ways to add value. We got brought in by Byron. Byron pulled us to the side, was like, yo, it's not really a choice. Y'all gonna be a part of this. I'm gonna pour into you. I'm gonna add value to you. You are gonna help us bring more young Black men and young women of color here to this organization. And every time we came, man, you know what it's like when we get together. It's hard to recreate that. And even in Black athletes on campus, they have their subsets of the teams that they're on that makes them feel secure, makes them feel safe. But it ain't nothing like being around our people, man. Just got to sell it. And when someone sell it, they should be able to look at you and believe it. It can't be kind of like an ask, but you should really be telling them.
All right, if no one else has any last thoughts, I'll bring it to a close here to make sure we're respectful of everybody's time. But thank you all so much, everybody, for being here. I'm grateful I got to sit in on this and listen to these conversations. This was amazing. And I know that this is just the start of so much more. So I'm really, really excited. And if I can be of help to anyone making connections or doing anything, planning events, please, please just send me an email.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For having us. And this was great. Great to meet you, Samira and Cody and everyone.
Likewise.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.